Hello, I'm Landis, and welcome back to Perfect Date. We should probably do some bloody work. Okay, what you got for me? Ooh, which one unlocks up to 5? You do. Stealth mission. The professor's laptop probably has all kinds of interesting files on it. Luckily for me, there's a certain white-haired nerd who says he can hack it for me. Is there now? The professor keeps all the data on a closed network. I have clearance to access a few files, but most of the info is encrypted and inaccessible to anyone but the professor himself. Good thing then, he's left his laptop unattended before going on a trip to the mainland. He's gone to collect some specific components for some of the experiments we're running soon, or so he says. I'm holding down the fort. When I open it, I see the laptop is running the same technology as the catalogue. It's the only working computer that I've seen on the island. It's password protected, as I expected, but that's not a problem because I have a trick up my sleeve. Kibbles, come over here and work your magic. Kibble's been playing with what looks like a rubber band under the professor's desk. He leaps up and stares at the screen with huge black pupils.
It's a Unix system. I know this. Okay, so you have to use an OS exploit and a pen drive to boot straight to desktop.
Okay, slow down. I'm not good with this stuff. After some fiddling and impatient instruction from Kibbles, we reach the desktop. The professor's desktop background is a picture of him surrounded by cats. It should look cute, but it looks strangely unnatural. We search for the files. Kib says we can get past the authentication process, but we still need to figure out how to decrypt them. He sets a process going to try to work out the encryption key. While that's working in the background, I take a look around the rest of the computer to see what else I can find. I find a folder with pictures of all the cats in it. They look like they were taken from a distance with a powerful zoom lens.
Caught me sneeze. Not very professional.
Why do you think he has these photos?
Well, I don't think he took them. He's only interested in cats as research subjects.
Really? Then how do you explain his desktop background?
Dunno.
The computer makes a noise. The program has finished trying to decrypt the files.
Yeah.
What is it?
We couldn't get past the encryption. We can only access to one file, and it's an old one.
I look at what he's referring to. Oh, but it's a good one.
Yeah? What does it say?
I read the document out loud. Observation on Project Felix. Day 74. Subject's ears are becoming pointed. Hearing range has expanded to 60 kHz. Subject appears to be developing a reflective layer behind the retina. Eyesight in darkness has improved by 50% since last measured. Subject's field of view has expanded to approximately 200 degrees. Body hair is becoming more dense. Longer hairs around the mouth and eyebrows have begun to grow faster and appear to carry sensory information. Attempts to reverse the changes have so far proved fruitless. Tomorrow we'll carry out further invasive procedures. Day 75. Administered a combination of aminoglycosides, glucose, and the chemical extracted from the feral cat's adrenal glands. Initial results are promising. Subject appears to be in acute pain at all times. Day 76. Subject has perished overnight due to sudden heart failure, potentially as a result of increased stress. Post-mortem to be carried out at 1700 hours.
Whoa, that's dark.
Yes, it is.
Probably a good thing you never told the professor you're catified.
I nod and download the file to a pen drive as Kib was instructed. I close the laptop. That's enough for one day, I think. Ooh, so maybe one of these cats is somebody important to Professor Pawpaw and he's genuinely looking for a cure. Seems logical, right? Best. Recon 1. There's something the professor is hiding from me. I know just the cats for the job. There's a trapdoor in the floor of the lab that is completely off limits. I've spied the professor going in and out of it a couple of times, but he always keeps it locked, and it's never mentioned. He uses a keycard to enter, but as far as I'm aware, there's no copies. Strange, though having a trapdoor in a tent, let alone special high-tech security, can't help wondering what on earth could be down there. I don't know if it's the catification or this environment, but my curiosity has really started to get the better of me recently. I spent some time ruminating and have finally formulated a plan on how to get past the trapdoor and into whatever is beneath it. But this is more than a one-person job. I need to find an accomplice. I made my way down to the beach, to a familiar sight at this time of day. Snooty Booty, McMurphy and Kibbles are reclining in the afternoon sun. The gang's all here.
Can't you count? There's only 3 of us.
Didn't mean it literally, Kibbles, but it's good to catch you. I need a willing volunteer to help me on my mission. Howdy, my dear. Charmed, though always I am to see you. You really do have a particular skill for interrupting one's beauty sleep. Now, if you could just move slightly to your left, you're casting a shadow. I shift my position and lower my expectations. This may not go as smoothly as I'd hoped. How about it, Murph? Fancy going on an adventure? Cara, you must know cats a bit better than that by now. You're going to have to give us all the details before you get any of us to agree to anything. Okay, how about this for intrigue? I've discovered a trap door in the ground of the main lab.
Yeah, what about it?
Oh, you know about it already?
Obviously, it's not exactly hidden.
What's down there?
I don't know. Don't care.
Only the professor goes down there, Cara. And you can't blame us for not wanting to keep him company. Not that we'd be welcome. Come on, guys, aren't any of you slightly curious? I already have a plan figured out. All I need is someone smart, stealthy, and skillful to be my partner in crime. Cara, there are many things I would do for you, but going into the Professor's territory is not one of them. I'm surprised at you, McMurphy. I thought you at least would be lured by the thrill of the unknown. But knowing my eye, whatever the Professor is hiding down there can't be good. That much we do know.
I don't even know why you asked us. How can a bunch of cats help you?
I'm glad you asked that, Kibbles. In brief, I have already worked out that the door is operated by an automated mechanism, and when Wasp walks through the door, it closes and locks behind him instantly. Well, almost instantly. It's your job to prevent that mechanism from making contact.
Obviously, but how?
I will sneak you into the lab in my backpack, and when the Professor is exiting the trapdoor, I will distract him while you make a break for it, and using your epic weapon as a tool, prevent the door from fully sealing.
Oh yeah, my weapon? And what would that be?
Your pebble. Kibbles looks like he's about to scarp her, and I know I have to move quick. I open my rucksack. In you pop. I know you're the bravest cat of them all. Murphy flashes me a wink and nudges Kibble forward. Valiant and brave as ever, Kibbles. You're a better man than me. Kibbles gulps and slinks into my backpack. I head back to the lab before he can change his mind. Now you've got to be as quiet as you can. A muffled voice comes from inside my bag.
Hey, Harry. Your job is really boring.
Kibbles, my job isn't waiting around for people to go through trapdoors all day.
What exactly is your job?
Well, it varies from day to day. Most of the time I'm looking after the cats. A friendly tabby called Oscar meows from his cage, as if he knows what we're talking about. Other days I might receive a delivery of samples, have to run extensive tests and log the information.
Hey Harry, your job is really boring.
Shh! Cut him off as the trapdoor begins to open and I give my backpack an elbow as the Professor emerges.
Ah, good day, Harry. Beginning on the new samples, are we? Always good to get a head start.
Oh yes, sir. I actually wanted to ask your opinion on this one. As I walk the Professor over to my workstation, Kibbles has already leapt out of my bag and darted through the trapdoor just before it closes. Actually, I see what I've done. I misread the 8 for a 3. Now it will make sense. Sorry to waste your time, Professor.
No worries, Harry. Say, may I ask when the last time that you visited the optician?
Just before I came to the island, everything was perfectly normal, sir.
Jolly good. Just checking.
Professor pushes his specs into the bridge of his nose and wafts out of the room. I breathe a sigh of relief and run over to Kibbles. He has wedged a small rock inside the rim so they can just pull the heavy door open. Well done, comrade. I knew you were the cat for the job. Kibbles looks proud in spite of his fear.
Victory or death?
I step down to join him, leaving the pebble wedging open the door above our heads. Oh, this is bad. Immediately, I can make out the staircase in the gloom. taking us further underground. By the time we reached the last step, the temperature has changed noticeably. I realized my teeth were chattering.
Don't be scared, Harry. I'll protect you.
Thank you, Kibbles. I fumble along the wall for a light switch. As soon as the lights come up, I cannot help but gasp. In front of us, a set of steel cabinets. The light glints off of them and forces my eyes into a squint. This place reminds me of something, but I can't think what. The drawers of the cabinets are neatly labelled, each explaining what is contained within. Gallbladder, claw front left, parotid gland. There are hundreds of these, row upon row. Open the drawer labelled claw, rear right. It's what I feared I would find. Boxed claw samples, each labelled with a name, number, and some notes about the particular subject, age, weight, breed, colouring. Every component that makes up a cat is laid out neatly in front of us. As a scientist, I'm used to seeing animal parts. There's something different about this place. The sheer volume is overwhelming. Cat after butchered cat. It's horrifying. I feel sick. I know what this place reminds me of. A morgue.
What the hell is this? Is this what they are doing to the cats that die here?
I wonder if they're even waiting for them to die. I keep my thoughts to myself. Look through the notes that Pauper left on the top cabinet. It looks like they harvest these from the cats that died during testing, so they can study the effects of various compounds on each of the specimens. Neither Kibbles nor I feel curious anymore. We decide to close this particular door behind us. Oh, it's a bit. Anyway, onwards. 15. Captain's log. The book McMurphy gave me is sitting on my lap. I wonder what a pirate's diary is doing on this island. We know what it's doing on this island. Maybe there will be some clues within. The log reads, I felt an almighty crash, and then the silence and stillness everywhere. It took a few seconds to gather my thoughts and understand what had happened here. If it would ever really be possible to understand this godforsaken place and how we got so far off course to reach here. But in that moment, immediately after we hit the rocks, I knew two things. I was alive, and we were on land, and I felt grateful. It felt like a chance at survival, and I was determined to grasp it. I felt my legs intact, thank God, and began crawling over the slate and shingle that seemed to stretch upwards to eternity. What type of place is this? Darkness was falling fast, but I needed to make sure we would be safe in this unexplored terrain. Who knew what would happen during the long night, what creatures it may bring, even what strange meteorological anomalies. Looking at the sky, I felt anything was possible, and we ought to be prepared. We had to work fast. I assembled the men, ragtag although we were, into some kind of orderly unit, in the hope that the familiarity of discipline would raise morale. We were all tired, cold and hungry. Some of us needed medical attention. This was not going to be easy, but it's what I was trained for, and I would rather die than let my men down. We need to make some shelter. My voice sounded thin and weak against the sound of the waves crashing. We need to make some shelter. My voice sounded thin and weak against the sound of the waves crashing. At first light, I looked around and began to take stock properly. It was gratifying to see that the temporary shelter we have cobbled together last night was still intact, and no disaster had befallen us. To add to the difficulties we were already burdened with. Considering the conditions we erected this makeshift cover in, and how short a time, I felt heartened for the first time since we were out at sea, before the strange electrical storm began, that ended us being thrust here against the unforgiving rocks of this terrifying place. We could do so much more with daylight on our side, and food in our bellies. So they were shipwrecked on this island. The thought of being the first inhabitants here is terrifying. How on earth did they survive? Maybe they didn't. I want to believe they were rescued, but this seems unlikely. I'll read more this evening. As I put the book away, a small piece of paper falls into my lap. It must have been hidden amongst the pages of the log. It's a note, maybe a letter. Sally, I know you worry for me, but do not. The men do not treat me bad. Give me food and do not beat me so much anymore. The captain is not so fearsome, is what they say, and has given me lessons on my writing. I am improving. I practice all night because I can't sleep. I work hard, sometimes till my hands crack and bleed, but I still use them every morning to pray for you, that you are safe and well, and that we'll be together once again. I miss you so much. The seas have not been smooth. Sometimes I worry that we'll capsize completely and be lost out here forever, but I will swim the wildest ocean back to you, my sweet sister. I hope you are practicing your writing too. I would love to read your clever poems again. Your loving brother, Jim. What a sweet letter. I wonder what became of Jim. Isn't he Captain Libby's crew buddy? First mate, crew boy, cabin boy. Yeah. Research time. It's time to check on Muffin. Ooh, different person. Alright, let's check on Muffin. I arrive at the lab at the usual time. As I walk through the door, the professor is standing right in front of me, with a disconcerting smile on his face.
Ah, Harry, perfect timing.
Yeah, morning, Professor.
Have you seen Muffin today?
I haven't. Why do you ask?
See for yourself.
He steps aside, and as I enter the tent, I immediately see what he's referring to. Muffin is bounding and scurrying at breathtaking speed, sending everything in her path flying. Crikey, Professor, what on earth has gone into her?
Some time ago, we tried to test a new sample on her, but there was no response at the time. I expect that is just a much delayed reaction to that sample.
Just like a hyper kitten.
Indeed. I have an assignment for you today.
You want me to catch it, don't you, sir?
Absolutely. You must retrieve some samples for analysis. Skin, hair, and saliva.
Right, okay. The professor chuckles to himself as he wanders out of the lab. He's right to laugh. This isn't going to be easy. Muffin is bouncing all over the place. I stumble around for a while trying to catch her, but she's too fast. I'll have to think this through strategically. I mean, patience is a virtue, and good things come to those who wait, and all of those cliches. Food seems like a good trap. She's burning lots of energy. She's probably hungry. I try the one thing that always works with Muffin. Food. I stand waiting with a handful of treats. Come on, Muffin. I've got your favourite. Muffin stops in her tracks and fixes her huge pupils onto the food. She's suspicious, but she can resist. She tentatively approaches. Suddenly she leaps forward. I suppose she thinks she can grab the food and run back before I can catch her. She thinks wrong. After a brief tussle, I have her in my arms. She soon resigns herself to her fate. I give her some treats and she starts purring. I collect the samples with little fuss from her and replace her in a crate. I'm preparing and cataloguing the samples when I notice something peculiar. The hair samples look brittle, like it could turn to ash in my hand. I glance up at Muffin and she's sleeping in an unnatural starfish position, as though she's conked out mid-leap. It makes me feel uneasy. I go and give her a gentle stroke. She seems perfectly fine and relaxed, but I can't help feeling she seems older than before. I think I'm getting paranoid. Ooh. Uh-oh. Rest. No dreams. Nice. More research. Okay, it's time to check on some of our test subjects. Nothing fancy, just a routine checkup. I'm spending the day examining the cats to make sure they're in good shape. Muffin is a little grumpy today, presumably because she's an old lady and she's just been woken up, but otherwise she's doing well. As I replace her in her crate, I can't resist doing the human-cat equivalent calculation. She's 18, so if one feline year equals 7 human years, that makes her the grand old age of 126. I know it's nonsense, but impressive anyway. Smokey is being quite vocal this morning, so I grab him next. His hair is a lot more luscious than it used to be. I can't help but run my hand through it. Although it's no longer growing, I can feel how thick it is. Apart from a happy coincidence, there doesn't seem to be any other side effects from the drug we tried on him, which is a relief. Further examination showed him to be very healthy indeed, a little bigger and heavier than last time I weighed him. All his other vitals are within normal acceptable range. I give him a small treat and he plods off happily. Who's next then? I suppose I have a minute free. I startled by the voice and turned to see the quiet chocolate brown cat from the forest has entered without me noticing. Oh, B, you came. Well, I was invited. Of course, well, let me check you over. I'd like to update your details on the catalogue. Okay. She leaps onto the counter gracefully and I begin the examination. You're in good condition, aren't you? If you say so, Turntail. Why do you call me that? She ignores the question. Turntail means coward, doesn't it? The journal the last assistant left says that you called them Turntail too. I've read all about it. What did we do to deserve being called cowards? You tell me. She looks almost sad. Well, I've racked my brain since you first said it, and I really can't imagine. I continue taking the vitals, keeping myself busy to ease the tension between us. You're taking too long. I remove the stethoscope from one of my ears. I'm sorry, B. Are you in a rush to get somewhere? I can't quite hide the sarcasm in my voice. Not this, I mean joining the dots, working it out. Working what out? The connection. I wait to understand. Between us. She's becoming more irritated with me, so I tried to pull it back by being ultra calm. And what would that be? It's like a red rag to a bull. Well, clearly not our IQ, mastermind. I feel strung. I can't understand why she's so upset with me. There's an awkward silence while I finish checking her over. Sorry. Her voice is no more than a whisper. I beg your pardon. It's not your fault. I just get so frustrated whenever there's a glimmer of hope. It's snuffed out before any progress is made. Although I don't understand, I don't want to interrupt her. She looks so earnest. I've been patient for so long, I'm beginning to forget. Forget what? Time is so we mustn't waste it. She looks so small and lost. Look, B, I'm really sorry if I did or said something to get us off on the wrong foot. I think it would be a real shame for us to not get along. We could be good allies. Important. Huh? The word I lost. The time is important. Yes, it is. See, we can agree. Maybe you could come sit down together and talk about this a little more. Maybe we could. B leaps off the examination table and saunters towards the door. I'll let you know, Turntail. She's gone before I can reply. Yay! See, this is the mistake I made last time. It looks like we've caught up, but we haven't, because this one gets unlocked by doing 10. Today's the day Mr. Bumble gets the all clear. He's a tough old boy. I'm looking forward to giving him a cuddle. So we're not actually going to be able to finish all the research. The professor lifts the flap of my tent and pokes his head inside. Harry, may I have a word? Of course, sir. He lets the flap fall shut. I'm not sure what time it is, but it's still dark in my little shelter. I quickly pull my lab coat over my pajamas and make my way outside to find the professor staring out to sea. Something wrong, Professor?
No, well, yes, I suppose something is wrong. Your Mr. Bumble is getting worse, Harry. He's taken a turn in the night.
Oh my goodness, but he was doing so well. I was going to recommend we release him this week.
With older cats, this can be expected. A sudden relapse is common, and they become overwhelmed so quickly.
I can't believe it. Is it something I did or didn't do? Did I miss something?
No, Harry. I trusted you had done your absolute best for him, my dear. But I'm afraid he is in a lot of discomfort now.
His words cut through like a knife. The thought of any animal being in pain is heartbreaking, but I've grown very attached to Mr. Mumble in the time I've been caring for him.
We do a lot of good on this island, Harry, and it can be truly a joy to live with these beautiful animals and ensure that they are well and happy. But we also have to do a lot of things that we don't want to, unpleasant things, you understand? Though we always have the best interest of the cat in mind.
I feel I know what's coming, but I hope I'm wrong.
Mr. Bumble may live a while yet, Harry, but his every waking moment will be full of pain and suffering. At times like these, we must think about what is best for our subjects.
The professor takes a deep breath.
Mr. Bumble will have to be euthanized, my dear. There's no two ways about that. But I thought it might be nicer for him if you were able to do it. You could say your goodbyes, stroke him, make him as comfortable as he can be, and then take away his pain with one quick injection of ketamine.
I'm frozen. I don't want to answer.
You don't have to agree, but I wanted to give you the choice. You'll be euthanized tonight either way. Would you like to be there?
I would honestly choose this one, but we're going to do this one just in case I get fired. I think I should be the one to put Mr. Bumble to sleep.
I know it's painful, but I think you've made the right decision, my dear. Let's get this over with quickly as possible.
Mr. Bumble is curled up in his crate. I'm a bit taken aback at how well he looks. I had braced myself for a different picture entirely. I'm grateful that he doesn't look as sick as he is.
Would you like me to prepare the syringe for you? Will you say your goodbyes?
I nod. I can't muster any words. The professor begins preparing the lethal injection. I take this moment to comfort Mr. Bumble through the bars of his crate. I'm worried that if I pick him up, I'll never be able to let him go. Talk to him quietly even though he can't understand what I'm saying. I hope my voice will be a comfort to him. It's okay, my friend. Nothing bad will happen to you.
Liar!
I'm surprised to hear the familiar voice of Trixie coming from the shadows in the corner of the lab.
I can't believe this. I trusted you.
I cough away the sob in my throat. I can't answer Trixie without raising suspicion.
I defended you when people called you a traitor. I believed in you. But you're just like him, aren't you? There's nothing wrong with that cat. Mr. Bumble is as healthy as I am.
You've been unwell for a while, haven't you, Mr. Bumble? And it's getting worse every day. It's time to do the kindest thing possible for you, even though it breaks my heart. I hope Trixie understands that I'm talking to her. She scoffs.
He's fooled you too. I thought you were smarter than that. Can you not see what's going on here?
The professor turns to me glumly and places the tray of supplies on the table next to the crate.
The injection is ready. If you're finished saying your goodbyes.
I hesitate, feeling the professor's shrewd eyes on me.
I can't watch this.
I see Trixie's shadow slink out of the tent.
I think delaying things any longer would only make the situation more distressing.
Oh, go for it. I'm sorry, Professor, but could I have a few moments alone with Mr. Bumble? I would like to brush his coat one last time.
Certainly, my dear. I'll leave you to finish the procedure. And no need to report back to me tonight. Just head back to your tent and I'll talk to you in the morning. Message me if you have any problems.
The Professor pokes a finger into Mr. Bumble's crate and whispers a few words that are just out of my earshot. He squeezes my shoulder paternally before leaving the lab. I immediately open the crate and hold the cap protectively to my chest. You're staying with me, boy. I whisper the words into his ear. Something in my gut tells me that the Professor is listening outside of the lab. We can't leave through the main entrance. We'll need to find another way out. My mind races wildly. I stroke the large cat with my free hand. His rhythmic purring helps me to concentrate better. I suddenly see an image of Trixie in my mind's eye. Where did she go? How did she get out? I search every corner of the tent for an opening, or a broken stake in the ground. Finally, I find a tear in the fabric behind some of the cages, and I'm able to squeeze out through it, with Mr. Bumble in my vice-like grip. My body switches to autopilot and takes me to the only place I can think to go, Trixie's cave. The cave is unusually dark and cold. She must be out. I write a short note explaining that I couldn't go through with the euthanasia, and that I'll be back at the lab covering my tracks tonight. I use one of her minerals, Fluffy Butt, as a paperwork, and make sure Mr. Bumble is settled and sleeping before I make my way back to the tent. Ooh, yay, new unlocks! Yay, time to die! I've come to the forest to gather my thoughts. This morning I noticed another change in my appearance, and so now it's been easier to cover up my transition. I just have to keep on top of removing the excess body hair. Even the stub of tail that appeared a few days ago hasn't been a problem. You'd see it. This new development is definitely a turning point. How am I going to explain the fact that my pupils have turned into vertical slits? I can't risk anyone seeing me like this, so I'm going to hide out for a while I see what happens. This is new. It's a beautiful night and McMurphy and I are laying on the sand by the old shipwrecks, relaxed in the way that only cats can be. When I remember back to all the anxiety and stress I used to live with, the endless hours fretting over the antidote research, it makes my fur stand up. I thought our lives depended upon it too. It was my love for McMurphy that finally got me to see sense. Why was I so desperate to make him the same as me? And I fallen for him the way he was? So I decided to turn it on its head and become like him. I lose track after 30. We're laying out under the stars. I can't help smiling to myself when I remember how cold I used to think it was at night. Mac used to rib me for my whining. Now here I am, as snug as can be, counting the stars with a cat. I love more than anything else in the world. Well, you see, the trouble is, Kara, you're still thinking like a scientist. What do you mean? Am I actually a cat now? So when you count the stars, you begin at 1 and assume you're going to keep counting numbers until you've quantified the whole entire galaxy. He laughs until his eyes twinkle with moisture. Oh yeah, go on then, Murph, the wise. Enlighten me a better way of counting. So if you ask me how many stars there are, I take an overall squint at the sky, judge how cloudy or clear it is, and decide if there's enough light to hunt. Not too much is the right amount for that, by the way, or too little light for a snooze. Best when it's bright. Just enough to steal a kiss from your sweetheart. And judging by the sky tonight, he nuzzles into my fur, and I'm the happiest cat in the universe. Does it mean we don't die because we're a cat? Oh, we didn't die. We became a cat. Holy shit. If you enjoyed this episode, then tickle the like button, perhaps subscribe, and check out the rest of the channel. And why not join us on Facebook, Patreon, Discord, and Twitter? Links are in the description, and rolling through the credits right now. I've been Landis. This has been A Perfect Date. Thank you very much, and see you soon.